I don't cry when it rains no more, or I get dirt on my shoes. I don't mind climbing 8 more floors, 'cause these stairs are all heading to you. I don't wait for tomorrow's sunshine when I feel it today. When it's cold in the dead of winter, remember that snow melts away. One more cold drink, one more roll, one more dance for the doors get closed. Please remember, enjoy the show. Let's get happy before we get old. We don't need plans or a fancy agenda. Let's just see where it goes. We got no care for the way people stare at the dust and the dirt on our clothes. Hey, my friend, we'll never say.
Hey everybody, come on into the Cajun Cooking Experience. This is Spuddy here tonight, cooking one of my favorite dishes. Of course, all the dishes I cook are my favorite dishes. Man, I'm so glad y'all coming in to join us. Now, we're gonna cook some roux peas tonight. And it's one of those dishes that it's a good go-to dish. It's a good side dish. We talked about it a little bit last week when we did our ground meat with the carrots and the sweet potatoes. And it makes a great side dish with anything, but you also could have it as a main dish if you want it. This could be a dish that you can serve over rice. It's an awesome dish that will serve over rice. You serve it with cream potatoes. One of my favorite ways to eat it, I wouldn't eat peas when I was small. But if mama cooked the peas and she had cream potatoes, real cream potatoes, the real smashed potatoes, then what I would do is I would go ahead and mix them together. And I would love the peas like that. So now, because we do roux peas, it makes it a whole lot better. It's not like those peas we used to have in school. You know, those big, it looked like they were about this big, but they're probably about big around as your thumb. I don't know how big they were. But you know something? The only thing they were good for is to shoot them across the cafeteria, because they poured them in a pot, warmed them up, maybe put a little margarine in it, and told you to eat it. What's up, Brian? Hey, Lucy. So one of the things I want to show y'all, why I use, and let me get these onions in here first, and I'm gonna show y'all why I use frozen peas over canned peas. Well, let's go ahead and get these onions in here first, because my grease is hot. English peas, yeah, they were English, and all them other bad languages they had out there, they were bad. Oh, Tim. You know, we used to hide them in the milk carton, but if the teacher really wanted to be mean, she would come over there and shake your milk carton and make you drink about the milk carton. So if you're looking, I'm gonna put this camera down to show you the difference. Look in the pot. These right here are your canned peas. Those down here, the dark green ones, those are the ones that come from the bag. Those come from the frozen peas. And not long ago, I watched a documentary on YouTube about how they harvest these peas and how they get them where they pick them out the field. It's a process. Within 2 hours of coming out the field, those peas are packed and put in the freezer. They pass them. Once they get into the trailer, they bring them straight to the warehouse, wash them. They're actually blanched to kill all the bacteria on them, and then put into blast freezers. Once they're blanched, they're cooled, and then go ahead. Go ahead, David. Flavor retold, that's right. But it was a good special. Go look up how they harvest green peas on YouTube. It's really a good special, and you have to appreciate the process that they go through to keep the nutrition in these peas for when you cooking them. You're getting maximum nutrition. In this can, maybe not. So I'm gonna show you the difference. Here's the can, you know, favorite Clover Valley cheap peas, on sale peas. But if you look at the ingredients, they have peas, water, sugar, and salt. But yeah, Jason, got a beer, brother. Those are the ingredients in the can. Here, when you buy the frozen bag, peas. That's it. Only peas. Nothing else in the bag. So, I don't need the sugar and the salt and all that, but they have to put that in the can. I get that. This is why canned goods, you have to be careful, especially as you're fighting things in your days like blood pressure issues or kidney issues. You want to stay away from those canned goods. All right, we're going to cook these onions down a little bit. And something I'm going to bring in, something I like when I do my roux peas, I like to bring a little smoked meat into it. This was taught to me by a lady that she was in a jam, and she just told me, open some cans of peas, warm them up, and throw some sausage in them. I thought she was crazy. Man, that's the best peas I ever ate. So do yourself a favor. Put you some smoked sausage in your peas. Get you a good smoked sausage. And also, I'm going to throw in a little Tasso. I made me a little batch of Tasso yesterday. So I said, what the hell? I'm going to put a little Tasso in too. This is about 1.5 pounds of meat. Then, just getting it on. Is the sweet peas? So according to this can, if you use a can, they call it sweet peas. If you call it a bag, they call it Petit green peas. Has nothing about sweet. The sweet's going to come when I put this honey and sugar in it. But if you get you some fresh peas, and I can eat them like this right out the pot, they have a little sweetness to them already. But if you get them out the can, they're putting sugar in that can, which is going to make them a little bit sweeter, which is where you get your sweet peas from. Love roux peas with smoked sausage. Well, you got that right, Kim. And today what I have 5 pounds of sweet peas. Ham would work also? Absolutely, Jason. Look, you got some ham left over? You just cooked the ham, had some left for Thanksgiving or something? Or if you want to buy ham and put it in your sweet peas? Absolutely, positively. Something else I tell people all the time. If you, somebody that likes to make your own sausage and all, you buy Boston butt, that bone, when you get down to the bone, put that bone, and when you make your stock, you can smoke that bone. I smoke all my leftover bones, and I throw that bone in my stock so that I get a little smoke flavor in that stock water, but I get all that bone marrow out of there, and all those pieces of meat that I couldn't cut off, they're all in here. And that's what this stock is. So nothing goes to waste. All right. Now what I'm working on right now, I'm just working a little gravy. And I don't have to cook this to death. Main reason is these peas are going to take a little time. All these vegetables are going to cook in. Hard to beat roux peas, partner. Roy, you got that right. I'm going to bring a little celery. Keep in mind, I don't have to put all these vegetables. Besides onions and a little garlic, really, I don't have to put anything. The peas are the champion here. I'm going to put a little garlic in. Only reason I don't have more garlic because it's all I had. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw in my mushrooms. Mushrooms are definitely optional, but y'all know I love my mushrooms. And I want to put everything in early so that they can have a chance to cook down. Now, on the roux peas, there's two ways that we can actually make our roux peas. One is I could have made a roux on the side. I could have also made a roux before I started. If I'm cooking a big batch where I'm on a catering job, I'm cooking for 100 people, 50 people, I'm going to make the roux ahead of time. But when I'm cooking for me, I'm going to do it a different way. Because for me, I want my roux taste, but I also want it a little on the healthier side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the flour into here once I smother these onions down. And that's going to help build a light roux. Remember this, the lighter the roux, the thicker the gravy. So I'll let that roux brown in here. It's going to stick to the pot a little bit. And I'm going to actually work it, keep working it, and let that flour brown in here. So you ever heard but it's going to pick up the oils. That flour is going to pick up the oils that are in this pot already. And it's going to make a nice little light roux. And because it's a light roux, I don't need as much roux to thicken my peas. Because the lighter the roux, the thicker the gravy, the less roux that you need. Glenn, my parents, every Thanksgiving, mom and pops always had their peas with butter, potatoes, and egg halves. Man, look, you see, Glenn, you just said a mouthful there. You can do anything you want with these peas. If I want to put some carrots in, some potatoes in, or if you want to put some egg halves in, you can put all that in here. You can have it as a side. Peas are very, very versatile on what you can do with them. How is sweet pea related to Popeye? As first cousin, brother. All right, we're gonna keep on working my season now. And I got some shallot bottoms here I'm gonna bring in. Like I said, I don't need all this seasoning, but it's what I personally like. I love all this seasoning in my food. Now, one thing about peas, it's a very, very ancient crop. They're considered like one of the founder crops, one of the first crops that came around. And peas go back like 7,000 to 8,000 BC. And it was cultivated along with barley and wheat. So all these crops, what was good in the Roman days is that you had peas, grains, and all. Remember, every now and then you went into these famines. These were good foods. They were also good foods because they were high in protein. Okay. Let's go ahead and go take a peek in this pot. All right, you see a peek in that pot. You see what I'm getting? I'm getting a little gravy here. This is what I want. Des, watching from Minnesota. Absolutely, brother. Des said he always starts with the roux. Most of the time, I'm going to start with the roux. And if you go watch one of my old shows, you'll see me starting with the roux. So there's many, or sometimes I have my roux on the side, I'll just whip it in. So there's so many ways that you can do this. I'm just going to cook mine a little bit on the healthier side tonight and just show you that all these ways work. Pam, hey, Spuddy, some cooked their roux peas with cocktail onions, some topped with sliced eggs, and some with Vienna sausage. Whatever you got, just put it in the pot. You got that right. So Pam just showed you all that, so versatile, that of things you could put in there. Those onions, those cocktail onions, I really believe years ago, those were wild onions in the yard. I remember we used to go to school, we used to pick those wild onions. And, all the boys had to eat them. They really tasted bitter, but they had to eat them to be cool. And I think that people at one time, according to what I read in history, is that they've used that for onions. And that's a long time ago. Did you make a blonde roux with yours? Glenn, tonight it's going to be more like a blonde roux with it, the way I'm going to do it. So it's going to be a little different than your normal roux, okay? And if you go back in old newspapers, and one of the reasons I'm doing this, hey, Norris, good to see you, old buddy. You go back and look in old newspapers, a lot of times, once you get away from South Louisiana, once you get away from our area, making a roux is what we're going to do tonight. They're going to go ahead and add some flour to the onions as they're cooking now. They'll go ahead and this was their thickener. And they will tell you all the time, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of lard. And we're going to bring in a couple tablespoons of flour after we smother the onions. Oh, George, what's happening, my brother? My brother, we sipping on some Modelo tonight. The darker the better, my brother. Okay. Now, one more time. I'm going to work this sausage and these onions and all together. And what this is allowing me to do, and this is going to enhance the flavor also. It's allowing me to build a little gravy with my seasoning and my sausage before I do the roux. So this is also going to add to the flavor. It's going to give it a little different flavor because I don't have that roux cooking on the side. So this is going to give me something a little different. There's a video out there that I made. It's on YouTube, and it's about cooking roux peas, and you'll see me starting with the roux. So that one has me starting off with the roux. Oh, thank you, Randy. It's that good camera I have. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring them bell peppers in. I know I like that rainbow of colors because I like all them different sweetnesses in my food. Like I said, you don't have to cover that whole rainbow. You don't have to do that. But You know, I like just the different levels of sweetness as you go from green to red. And I just love that. Oh, Daz, what's happening? It's all good, cuz. All right. And this is one of the favorite things I like to do is fry this sausage down. You talk about really good to eat about right now. Are we making what we talked about last week? You got it, Mike. So this was being done by request. And Michael asked me, he said he really know what roux peas was. And I told him this is a great dish for the holidays. Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas coming up. He has to go ahead and try to make this. And I'm gonna tell you, Michael, you're gonna knock people's socks off. I call it peas on steroids. One of the things I do is people that come do my Cajun cooking experience, when we have 3 people, we have 2, we're gonna do jambalaya and gumbo. We get a third person, we always cook a little pot of roux peas. And you know something? They will always say, I don't eat peas. And I will always prove them wrong once we finish this. Because they're used to those peas that we don't like to eat, or what Lucy called the English peas. Jason, here it is, my brother. Now, what I'm going to do is, before I add that flour, I'm going to put me a piece of sausage on the side. Because I got to have one of those. Okay, before I add the flour, go ahead and take a look in the pot. You can see everything cooking down. Watch when I add that little bit of stock in it. You can see the gravy getting brown in here. Okay, this is going to add to the flavor of these peas. Oh, hell yeah, that shuffle coming, Randy. When I went on that cruise, I over shuffled them. My side nervous still talking to me. All right. You see how that's really doing good? Now I'm going to go ahead and bring that flour in. Okay. And I'm going to leave it on here while y'all see this. So you just bring a little flour in and just kind of use your judgment. And you work that in. And that's going to cook down in the bottom. You see right here? It's starting to cook down the bottom of this pot. This is what's going to build your roux. Remember, my oil's already in there. And what I've done, I've added a half a cup of flour in here. So it doesn't take a whole lot. Oh, Terry, why vacation in Gatlinburg? How is it in Gatlinburg, my brother? Besides crowded. Okay. And you can see the bottom of the pot. You're starting to get this flour sticking to the bottom of this pot. So this flour is already cooking down here. This is actually helping me build my roux. And this is just a little healthier way to do it and another way to do it. But like I said, if you wanted to make a roux ahead of time, that is not a problem. This is what I like about cooking is that you so many different ways you can do it. And there's no right way or wrong way. It's your way, which is going to be the best way. Raining. Oh, man. Should have stayed home. We ain't getting no rain. We're in a damn drought. Oh, boy. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead. I've got this nice and brown at the bottom of this pot. You see in there? Let's go ahead and go ahead and start bringing all stock in. Okay, I'm going to bring the camera back. So now we're going to start cooking this roux off the bottom of this pot. With that stock, I'm going to start bringing that roux up. Let me go back in the pot. You're going to start seeing this roux starting to build in there. So you see it in here? You're starting to see that roux starting to build at the bottom of this pot now. You're starting to get that sticky gravy. This is what I want. And eventually, as we keep cooking, we're going to pull everything off the bottom of this pot, okay? This is the way when people come do the Cajun cooking experience, I get them to do it because it's an easier way to remember. A lot of people, they don't make the roux that we make. So this is not only an easier way, but just a healthy alternative for people to bring home with them. And they'll go home and you do it like this. This is a little off topic, but I've been wanting to ask you for your catfish courgouillon. You ever do your sauce on the stove top and finish it in the oven with bigger fillets of fish? I'm going to come back to that, Glenn. Oh, Rabbit, what's happening, brother? Send your bowl all the way in Buffalo. So Glenn, that is one way to do it. You can actually make your sauce on the stove and then drop your fish in and then go ahead and put your fish courgouillon in the oven. That's one way to do it. I do mine completely stovetop. But I'm going to tell you something I put in my courgouillon a lot of people don't put. I put those peas in it. And that makes a big difference. We're going to be doing a fish courgouillon pretty soon. And we're going to definitely do it. And you'll see the peas go in it. And at that time when I put the peas and cook it, it's time to bring the fish in. You can actually put it in the oven and let it finish in the oven at that time. And we'll discuss that more when we go ahead and make it. Okay? All right. I got a nice little slurry going on in here. This is going to be a good gravy. Oh, yeah. Remember that sausage I put on the side a while ago? Don't worry, Rabbit. You can get a bowl anytime, brother. Okay. Now, I need a sip of beer now. That sausage was made Saturday, smoked Tuesday, and we're cooking with it today. Oh, yes, indeed. Now, peas are known. How often do you do live? Desert, thanks for asking that. I do live every Wednesday, 6:30, and you're on Facebook. Another way to watch it is to also go to Spuddy's Cajun Foods YouTube page. Subscribe to that page, and you're going to get a better picture. Okay. Oh, hell yeah. Now where you at, Hollywood? Those ugly peas we had a while ago, we're going to bring them in. We're going to let them cook with the regular peas. Okay, let's go back down to the bottom of this pot. Okay, see the nice little gravy building in here? Looks like a blonde roux gravy. It is a roux. Just another way of doing it. All right. Now, peas being one of the oldest vegetables that's known, they're also found in ancient tombs. Why? Because once they dry, they can last forever. And so they found them in ancient tombs, and these peas allowed the ocean voyagers to survive. They put these peas on these boats where they can eat them. Most of the time, they were eating them like this. They're just eating them raw. And what that would give them some good nutrition while they were on that boat. And once they got like this, they couldn't spoil. It was a good food for them to travel. And that was, they came across discovering the Americas. And that's where, how they got into America through all the people that came over, especially the colonists. Let's see. Sharon. Oh, Sharon, thank you, baby. Sharon said she's been watching for this recipe. Thinking about some shows on the road. Went to one and it was fun. Jason, I'm always ready to go on the road. We did that at George's place in Bex at the Lake. Man, that was a blast that night. That was really a good time. Now, and then best part about it, as far as going live, at that time I was dumb as a rock. Not that I'm much smarter now, but we had, as far as what it took, the internet power that it took to get this show up to y'all, I had no idea. Now I know. Okay, here we go. I'll bring these old ugly peas in first. Then we're going to bring the star of the show. Look at the color of these peas. whenever I can, I will always buy frozen peas, frozen vegetables, period. Ryan, looking good. You need to get smell of it. Yeah, no kidding. So the peas coming around about 7,000, 8,000 BC, about 10,000 years ago. So eventually it spread to Europe and Asia with the early agriculture. So it was something that spread, but it wasn't green peas that took hold first. It was more like a field peas. Then from there, they developed the green peas, which would have been called the garden peas. And these are the ones that they would eat raw. Hey, Terry, thank you, baby. Oh, man. Let's take a peek in this pot. Oh, yeah. This thing is looking really, really good. Military bonds are loaded, man. I like to hear that. I love hearing that. So you see the awesome color in here? This is what I really like about this dish. Now, we need to get the fire up. Once the fire gets up, this will take about 20 minutes to cook, and this dish should be done. There's one thing about it. It's a great dish. It's a good dish. A lot of flavor in here. It doesn't take long. It's a great side dish as well as a main dish. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little hot sauce. While this is getting ready. Now, I have to be careful with my seasoning because I did put that Tasso in here. And I don't know if you're familiar with Tasso. There's a lot of seasoning in Tasso. Heavy salt, heavy pepper. So I've had to be careful. I have to let this boil a little while and see how the peas are going to pick it up. Put a little bit more stock in here. And I've got a really thick base in here right now. Just go ahead and take a look in the pot. I think. Okay. You see the thick gravy right here? This is what we got. Just got some frozen corn for a shrimp ham Tasso corn soup. I find they taste fresh than canned. Fresh shuck is the best. Glenn, you're right. Now, if you can get the fresh shuck, come out the garden, come there and shuck them real quick and go ahead and vacuum pack it, then you got it. Then you got it. But if the corn fresh shuck, if the corn sits on the shelf for a week or 2 weeks, probably your frozen is going to be a little better. But if you're growing them, come out the garden and go and within hours you've got them shucked, peeled off the corn, off the cob, and you put them in the freezer. You got it. That's the freshest you're going to get. Okay. Oh man, thank you, Mike. That Tasso is. Tell you what, when I make it, I can't stop eating the damn thing. Would split pea soup start this way in cooking? If you wanted to, Sharon, you could. You could start it this way, and then then you would just be cooking your peas a little longer. But yeah, if you wanted to start it this way, you absolutely could. And of course, you're gonna have a little bit thicker, bit of different base to it. But this is a good way to start. Tell you what, you're gonna have some flavor in that split pea soup. I promise you. One day we're going to try some of that on here. As we get closer to the holidays and get that cool weather, that's a good soup. Oh, man. This is smelling good. This is really smelling good. I'm ready to start dipping this damn French bread. Now, today, these green peas, they're consumed all over the world. It's a very versatile dish, and the nutritional value is just out the box. Oh, somebody's rolling out there. You can also add those cute button mushrooms. Damn right, Pam. Kathy, Leisure peas is my favorite. Actually, the only green peas I eat. Kathy, you trying to say you're a picky eater? I told my sister tonight I was cooking her favorite dish. Anything with color she does not like. Any vegetable she does not like. She made a face I can't repeat. All right, we just want now. It's starting to come back to ball. This is what we want. Now, in the 16th century, one thing about these peas, it became a delicacy for the elite. It was crazy. The green peas, they were eaten fresh. It became a delicacy. It almost got like asinine how popular it was. It was so popular that the common people, the peasants, they didn't get any. All the elite people got the peas, and it was considered the rich man's food. And it was like the vogue thing, you know. It was actually this was the end thing. Now, let me tell you something. Like any other food, there's a downside to eating these peas. If you eat too much peas, there is a downside. What's up, my brother Baron? The downside of eating these green peas is that if you eat too much, green peas contain the high anti-nutrients. And the anti-nutrients they're high in is lectins and citric acid. And these, if you eat too much, can actually interfere with nutrition absorption. So it's like anything else. It's good for you in moderation, like my grandpa used to say. And there's another problem with eating too much. If you eat too much, you're going to have gastro issues, and it's not going to be pleasant. And it's going to tear your stomach. It's going to turn your stomach in knots. So, you know, don't pig out on them. Ever serve it on rice? We grew up with that. The stretch meals. We had a big family and not much money. Glenn, absolutely. We either had it with cream potatoes or with rice. I've eaten it with rice before, and I've actually served it with rice before. And it's I love eating green peas with rice. I love eating it by itself. And I love the mix. You see with a jambalaya? This with a jambalaya, pastelaya is awesome. If I'm eating it with a jambalaya, okay, you might not want to watch me eat because I'm mixing all this together. That's my rice. And the peas with the jambalaya, everybody that comes here and cooks it with the Cajun cooking experience, this is one of the things that they really like. They'll take those peas and they'll put them on the side, but eventually they bring them over that jambalaya, and it makes a really good dish. Okay, let's take a peek in that pot now. Look at this. You see, it's got a nice little roux gravy color. So that's just another way of making a roux. Little onions. Okay. On top of toast bread also. Hell yeah, I don't know why not. This reminds me of a poem I learned as a kid. It goes like this. I eat my peas with honey. I've done it all my life. It makes the peas taste funny, but it keeps them on a knife. Well, Mike, since you're talking about honey, hell, let's bring some in. Now that we have it boiling, because I always like to bring a little sugar into my peas. So now they're gonna stay on my knife. And also, I'm gonna bring in a little bit sugar. Gotta show the sugar cane farmers a little loving. Now I'm getting ready to taste this. Now, as a matter of these peas, the longer they cook, the more flavor these peas are gonna let out. And the more flavor they let out, the better this dish is gonna be. So what's the difference between field peas and garden peas? They call these garden peas, by the way. So that's a kind of a name for them, garden peas, which are the green peas. Something I don't know of anybody that grows around here. But the field peas, way back in ancient times, they were consumed like other legumes, and they were used for flour and porridge. But the garden peas they were eaten fresh. Like I said, they would just eat them like that. Is there a link for the recipe? No, I'd have to put one out there, John. I have a hard time writing recipes. Ooh. No. Holy cow. Holy cow. Bring a little bit of salt in. Not a whole lot. Just a little touch. I'm going to bring a little touch of black pepper in. I'm not doing that with the regular red pepper. Bring a little bit of red pepper in. Okay, you see, I'm not putting a whole lot of seasoning. What's up, Joy? We're cooking roux peas tonight, Joy. One of the River Parish favorites. So I thought that was, like one of the dishes that were known in the River Parish and nobody knew about it. I had people come from St. Louis one time. And St. Louis, if you know anything about St. Louis, heavy German area. And they said, yeah, we roux peas, we know all about it. We eat them all the time. I went, well, I'll be damned. So I think it was all part of the German culture because we were all part of the German coast out here in the river parishes. And like somebody said earlier, it was a way, I think it was Glenn said this, it was a way you could serve this over rice. It was a way to stretch out the food because we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of stuff. Daddy worked construction work. We had more pink slips than working slips. So these peas, which were cheap at that time, over rice, spread out a long ways. That was a cheap piece of meat like a pork chop or a round steak. All good. Daddy talking to you, Lane. Okay. Now, earlier Pam was talking about those cocktail onions. Since I happen to have some on hand, you see, that's something else you can add to it. Make up your own dish. Do what you want. I can tell y'all what, I got some flavor going here. Time to dip this French bread. Ooh, Lord. I never thought I'd be in a green pea po' boy. Oh, my goodness. Man, if they had Carnival Cruise Line, pay attention. This is the kind of food y'all got to serve on the boat. Holy cow. I asked for my recipes and I don't follow recipes. I just cook as I've learned cooking for so many years. You got that right, man. Hey, Jason, been waiting for this, brother. Oh, my goodness. Whoo. I see tomorrow with this roux, this is going to tighten up. I promise you tomorrow morning for breakfast, I'm going to make a wrap with these peas. Des, you do the frozen pearl onions? I didn't even know they had any, Des. Okay. That was new on me. All right, let's try this again. Cool. Let me come down with the camera now. You can see the color of the roux. You see it's got a nice brown color in here. So you don't have to start with the roux. You just have to make sure you have a roux in this pot. Ooh. Ooh. I'm going to bring a little bit more sweetness in this pot. Now, if I was using canned peas, because we saw in the ingredients that there's sugar in this can. Peas, water, salt, sugar, and salt. So with that being said, I would have to back off on the sugar. I'd have to taste these peas first. And I think that's where the peas come from. Now, we always call them, especially out here in Vacherie, Petit Pois with the Roux. And where did that come from? Back in the day, Dubois had the Petit Pois, cans of peas. And this is what everybody bought. My mama bought them, and everybody's mama bought these cans. They were cheap, they were easy to find. So Petit Pois was the name of the can. And you had the Petit Pois with the Roux. So this is what we call them in Vacherie. Everybody calls them Petit Pois with Roux. Once you get away from here, everybody calls them Roux peas. And I thought about that today, why we have a different name. And that is the only thing I can come up with. The Dubois Petit Pois peas. And Petit Pois, little peas. Oh, man. And they still in existence today. So the ancient Romans and the Greeks cultivated this in the Middle Ages. It's not only served as a vital protein-rich food, especially like a plant protein, but also really valuable during famine times. And as I said earlier, it became so fast, it's so popular that it was described as fashion and a madness in Europe. People were just going crazy over this. And there was a man out there that he wanted to invent a process through freezing and canning to preserve the peas and also to preserve that bright green color. Y'all gonna know his name. In the 1920s, a man by the name of Clarence Birdseye invented the process to freeze those peas to keep that color and nutrition in them. Today, you see the Birdseye brand throughout the United States. And again, downside of eating peas, this is a high fiber content. High protein, high fiber. What does high fiber do? You eat too much of this, you might get a little gassy. There's your warning. But what's the nutritional value? In this pot, what's the nutritional value? Because we only had a half a cup of flour, maybe a half a cup, probably not even half a cup of oil in here. I probably had maybe a quarter of a cup of oil. So you take all that, spread amongst this pot, that's not a whole lot of bad calories in here. No, but on the 3.5 ounces, you only have 67 calories in these peas, 12.5 grams of carb, but you have 4.5 grams of fiber, but only 0.4 grams of fat. Heavy in vitamins K, A, and C. And then high in iron, magnesium, and potassium. It's actually said that this is very good for your heart. It's good cardio medicine because the potassium, one of those things that high fiber and potassium promotes heart health. So it's the antioxidants help protect you against chronic disease, helps keep you healthy. Coach, let's see. Billy Picard petition. Petit Pois comes from the French little peas. Thanks again for all the history. You got it, my brother. Always good hearing from you, Coach. Oh, man. Y'all got to take another. I call them Petit Pois, baby peas. Oh, no, I knew what you meant. Then spell check. Y'all. All I can tell y'all is badass. I'm trying to find a little piece of Tasso in here. Oh, there we go. Whoo. Oh, my goodness. If you're going to use Tasso in here, make sure you put it in early. The Tasso is usually made with a really tough meat. I make mine with cushion meat, so it's pretty tough. You want it in early. This thing is, Not only finger licking good, but it melts in your mouth, not in your hand. Ooh. Y'all. I hope y'all can come get some. There you go, Darren. All right. There's our peas. It's going to cook by another 5 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up now. But this is a really good dish, a good versatile dish to cook. Serve it with anything. It's great as a side. I was supposed to warm up some of the stuff I had from last week because I've been eating on it all week. That ground meat with carrots and sweet potatoes, I've been eating every day, either on a sandwich or a wrap, in a salad, you name it. I've eaten it on everything you can think of. It is just awesome. Tomorrow, I promise you for lunch, I'm going to have these Petit Pois along with some of that ground meat with carrots and sweet potatoes. It's going to be a great, great lunch. Sundays, buddy, I'm going to cook with you, buddy. Michael, anytime, bro. You come down, I'll put you on the show with me. We're going to cook. Or we go in the back and light up some pots. That is not a problem. You just come on over, brother. All right. So next week, we'll be back next Wednesday. And I'm thinking about, unless somebody has a special request, because this was a special request, I'm thinking about a wildlife gumbo. I've got some rabbit, smoked rabbit, and smoked coon in the freezer. And it's time. It's getting to be gumbo season. So it's time to make that gumbo. The first gumbo of the season. And why not start off with some wildlife gumbo? So until next week, thank y'all for tuning in. Try y'all some Petit Pois with the roux or roux peas, whatever you want to call them. But just try it. You won't regret it. Thank y'all. Love y'all. God bless y'all.
Don't get me wrong, I love my life. These concrete walls, they city lights. What I'm about to say, it won't make no sense, but I gotta get it off my chest. There's so much more than where you're